What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm back at it again to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. Now, if you guys been paying attention, for the past couple of days, we've been doing kind of a little theme going on with the Chaos Gods. We've brought you Slaanesh, Khorne, and now we're coming up to the most disgusting Chaos God ever. Yo mama! Damn, guys, you just got burnt. But in reality, we're talking about Nurgle. Nurgle was pretty high up there, one of my favorite gods, but the more I learn about him, the more that I don't like him. It's like, yeah, they're great on the tabletop because they're resilient, and you got like the pox zombies and all that stuff, but I don't know, there's something about Nurgle that just doesn't sit right with me. Maybe because I get sick too often. But anyway, there's a little aspect of every Chaos God that I like. For example, Khorne. I love the demons of Khorne. They look so badass, just like wielding these powerful axes and swords. Tzeentch, I love his magic, all things warp sorcery. With Slaanesh, it's the whole, like, you don't really see Slaanesh too much on the battlefield, so whenever you do field, like demonettes and stuff, you're gonna have guys be like, yo, are those double D's on your models? I'll be like, nah son, triple. But anyway, we come to Nurgle. I feel like he's I feel like a little kid, even though they refer to him as Grandpa or Papa Nurgle. But anyway, guys, I've been talking for a little bit too much, so let's dive into the forces that follow Nurgle. One of the followers of Nurgle are known as the Writhing World Sorcerer Kings. They are biomancer psychers in the screaming vortex of the warp. One of the most disturbing locations within the Screaming Vortex is the Writhing World, a planet whose primitive human inhabitants wander amidst continent-sized tendrils of undulating flesh, beneath the merciless rule of the great Biomancer Lords. The most powerful as such are the Sorcerer Kings, which are potent psychers whose massive citadels scurry endlessly across the planet's surface at their master's bidding. Occasionally, one of these powerful individuals will depart this decaying world, bartering passage among the various vessels that traverse this void. Though their reasons for these journeys are their own, their considerable power and arcane lore make them powerful allies despite the apparent danger of harboring such vile wretches. The vile Savants. These are warp-diseased warriors, hideous, bloated, stinking creations of Nurgle. They were once men and women, but now they are possessed by a demonic virus. They wear biocontainment suits to hold their decaying forms together. These foul entities are filled with a hatred of all things that live and breathe, and they retain the skills and memories of their former selves. Individuals filled with bitterness and despair are particularly prone to succumb to this disease, which is drawn to individuals from the warp itself. From here, the plague will spread across the world, allowing it to expand rapidly across the Imperium. Savants are single-minded demonic entities that seek to only spread their infection and kill all before them, much like zombies. They cannot be bargained with, reasoned with, or diverted from their task. Now let's learn a little bit more about this demon plague. So the warp disease itself has been classified by the Ordo Malleus as the Fidei strain, named after the region of the Calyx sector where it was first encountered. It has been observed in spreading in a number of stages. The first stage. A single individual is infected, often from the warp itself, which takes advantage of the individual's despairs and bitterness. The carrier is subject to fits of fever and terrible nightmares at first, but will apparently recover into perfect health in a matter of hours. However, while the person may seem healthy, their soul has since become claimed by the warp, and is a highly contagious carrier for the plagues of Nurgle. The second stage. The subject unwittingly spreads the plague. The sentient virus is clever. If left unchecked, it will spread slowly, and symptoms in the new victims will not manifest for perhaps weeks on end. However, if it is discovered, symptoms will suddenly erupt as the virus seeks to cause as much damage as possible before it is eradicated. Once the disease begins to manifest fully, the subjects begin to suffer from the bodily flux, murderous fever, and green markings on the skin that will bring a spasm-racked death. The third stage. Those claimed by the disease are reanimated, now possessed by the demonic virus. Cunning predators rather than mindless zombies, they seek to infect the living and kill all in their path. The fourth stage. Once the dead have risen in great numbers, reality will fall apart in the affected region, and the demons of Nurgle will be summoned to the materium. The vile Savants themselves now emerge from the warp, controlling the Fide strain zombies to do their bidding. The last stage, Stage 5. Nearly all of the infected on the world are killed, while a small number of survivors are deliberately left to become new victims for future plagues. The Savants then leave, seeking to repeat this process over and over again till the end of time. The Cult of Amber is a chaos cult of Nurgle, active in the Corvus subsector in the late 41st millennium. Having existed in the small world of Uncleos for millennia, they came to believe that the snail's pace at which the Imperium progressed was still too fast. They instead embraced stagnancy, becoming determined to keep their great civilization the way it was for eternity. The cult's members included high-ranking politicians, planetary defense force officers, and bureaucrats, allowing them to infiltrate the planet's power structure to pave the way for the arrival of their god, who would now preserve the planet for all time, the great Lord of Amber. The Lord of Amber was perhaps unknown to the cultists, but it was a cult, and it grew more and more powerful over the millennia, thanks to Nurgle's guidance. Soon the cult embraced not stagnancy, but rather regression and decay. Towards the end of the 31st millennia, the cult fell under the control of Magister Antonin Thrax, a high-ranking administrative member. With access to both his cult's sorcery and the auguries of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica in the subsector, Thrax and his cult launched a coup on Uncleos and created a massive dark ritual of conjunction that created the warp storm known as Crow's Eye, in order to finally pave the way for the Lord of Amber. The power of Nurgle did indeed manifest on Uncleos, reducing the entire population, including that of the Cult of Amber, down to their very bones. For his part in the plan, Thrax was transformed into a demon prince, Anathrax the Foetid. However, due to the interference of Nurgle's rival god Zeech, the conjunction was ended prematurely, and thus only Uncleos was transformed into a realm of Nurgle. The Tenebrous Cult. The Tenebrous Cult is a gene-stealer cult that is now devoted to Nurgle. At some point, the cult found itself becoming infested, rather than being the infestors, when the bulk leader was swallowed by a warp storm that stranded them on the outskirts of Nurgle's garden. The cult discovered the true meaning of parasitism and horror. Eventually, the grandfather of plagues allowed them to emerge into real space once more, horrifically changed and ready to serve their new masters' sticky agendas. So I guess that goes to show that yes, even the Tyranids can be corrupted by Nurgle. Even though they have the Shadow of the Warp, which I thought that would kind of help them, not get entranced by the Chaos Gods. But maybe since they were a Gene Stealer cult, that kind of had something to do with it. I don't know, let me know what you guys think down below. But anyway, let's continue on. The Plague Guard. The Plague Guard is a vast demon warband, composed of 7 legions filled with the most elite warriors of the Chaos God Nurgle. Only the most revolting, contagious, and skilled accountants of ailment are selected for each of the 7 legions within the warband, and they are led by a great unclean one. Overall, Kugath is the general of the warband's forces, and Septicus acts as a second-in-command. The Plague Guard would take part in invading Ultramar during the later years of the Plague Wars, and they claimed the world of Lax for Nurgle. The warband then invaded Parmenio, but they were defeated by the Imperium's forces, led by Lord Commander Guilliman. Now the lore behind this is pretty badass, so I will get into this in a later video, for example covering Kugath and Sepictus, and overall this whole epic battle. Anyway guys, that's all the time I have for you today. Let me know what you guys think about these forces of Nurgle. Would you join Nurgle if you guys were sick and on your deathbed, or would you just let his diseases overcome you? Also, how do you guys think this whole Nurgle zombie plague would fare in The Walking Dead? Since they're not so slow anymore, now they're kind of being led by the Savants, and they're more brutal and whatnot. I think they'd be dead. Oh snap, I think Nurgle's getting me. Oh. But anyway, even though The Walking Dead zombies are really slow, and they're kind of not the main issue anymore. Now it's more about people fighting people. If the zombies were a lot faster, I think it would be more of a, humanity having to band with itself in order to get to this enemy, cleansed off the earth. But again, man, it's going to be a losing battle. So I think we know why the zombies in The Walking Dead are pretty much slow. And another thing to note, most of the images that were used in this video were by a deviant artist known by Blaze Barrows. Awesome guy. I've got him doing a few commissions for One Mind Syndicate. He is the one who did the picture for Lord Commander Oros. Great guy. He does do commissions, so hit him up and check out his deviant art page. Really great art style. Cartoony, but still badass. I love it. Anyway, guys, like I said before, that's all the time I have for you. Hit us up on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and Facebook for more things 40k. As always, guys, I'm the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. That's if Nurgle doesn't get me first.